So here we are. Well, hey, I'm John, and
I'm Jim.
And I'm one of the pastors here.
I'm one of the elders here.
He's one of the elders here. And we want to just spend a few minutes with you today, people of WestWay Christian Church, just giving you an update on what's been happening over the last. It's been 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been 8 months. But yeah, it's been 8 weeks
Since we did this last, yeah.
for us. So we want to just give you just a few things so you know what's happening. And first off, we want to recognize that that our church body has just done an awesome job at being the church.
Yeah.
We've talked about that so many times over the last 3 years, and I'm sure it was talked about before I showed up. But the building is not the church. Westway is not our building.
It's our people.
It's our people. And you guys have really done a fantastic job. We hear things all the time about relationships and phone calls. And I know, like, we're doing 2 Zoom small groups during the week, and there are other groups that meet during the week. And
we have people meeting in families in others' homes. And
yeah. There's just a lot of really great things that are happening, and we're excited about that. And that's part of the reason why, as we think about regathering, we want to be careful in the way that we talk about this.
Right.
So that's what we want to do, is we want to just give you kind of the 90,000 foot view and invite you into our conversation, invite you into our mindset. And then over the next few weeks, which we'll say again in a minute, over the next few weeks, we're gonna have more information, more updates coming for things to go.
Yeah, and this is the first of 3
different
Tuesday afternoon. Let's get together, and I believe next week we'll do a schedule. The week after that, we'll actually put the nuts and bolts together.
Yeah. So today really is an overview of what we want to do. And the first thing that we wanted to communicate to you is, like, we know that you are the church and you guys are being the church. And that is a relief to know that it's not a surprise, but it's a relief to know that what we do as a church body is not dependent on our building.
Right. And we want to thank you guys for the phone calls, reaching out for those that have been struggling, helping your neighbors with getting groceries. I mean, the list is just amazing of what's happened here.
Yeah, I even saw today in our Tuesday night small group Facebook Messenger chat, because I have like 6,000 of these. In our Tuesday night Facebook Messenger chat, somebody just reached out and said, "Hey, is there anyone available? I need someone to come and sit with my kids in the car at Walmart for 5 minutes so I can run into the store, grab my order, and then go." And I saw people in our group that were like, "Yeah, I can do that." That is an example, and that seems really small unless you're that mom with those kids trying to figure out how you're going to get in and out of Walmart in a reasonable time. So we just love that. We want to let you know that we know that the governor of Nebraska has said that churches can meet.
He said churches could open.
Yeah, churches could open. So
our body is the church. So we already know you're open.
Yeah. So we know that. We want you to know. We want you to hear from us that we know that the governor has said, "Hey, you guys are open. You can," and we're going to talk about this next thing in a second. You guys can meet. We know that. This isn't a surprise to us. So one of the things that I'm thankful for is we haven't had an onslaught of people calling and texting and asking. Well, at least I haven't. Calling and texting and asking us 40 million questions.
Right.
So thank you for that.
You.
That's a tremendous gift. Believe it or not, that is a huge gift to us.
Yeah.
So So we can meet, but so Jim, why don't you talk a little bit about what we've
Yeah.
seen? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What have we seen?
Okay, we got the directive. It's roughly 2 pages, single typed of all the different restrictions, different guidelines
Yeah.
that they want us to follow so that we can open safely.
Right.
So just so you know, we are working through all those. We're trying to find people that are going to be willing to help us with the greeters, help us with serving. We're going to probably need some ushers.
Yeah.
So just to make sure that we're following those directives so that you guys are safe when you come in the building.
Yeah. So we're reading through those guidelines. We're talking about them as staff, as pastors, as elders. We are bringing in our different team leaders
Yeah.
into this process so that they can help us navigate all of these things, and we're really working hard to stick to those guidelines as much as we're able.
As much as we're able.
And then the other thing that we want to say is last week we sent out a survey, and that was sent out on Facebook. It was sent out an email. If you have our WestWay app, you should have received a notification for that. As long as you have notifications turned on, you would have received a notification for that. And we had a number of people respond. I looked shortly before we came in here, and we had 72 people respond. So that represents 72 family groups of WestWay. So we're really pleased with the number of people who have given us feedback.
Right.
And one of the things that we learned from this survey is that about 50% of you are ready to, if we were to have our 10:15 gathering, about 50% of you are ready and willing to participate, and about 50% of you are not.
Yes. We need more time.
Yeah, we're saying we need more time. So then what we did, we asked a few questions. What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? And it was interesting because even though we had 50-ish% say, yeah, we want to come back, we had over 60 comments and concerns expressed to us about how we're going to do things. So we had 70 total surveys, 72 surveys.
72 surveys.
And we had 60 people tell us, hey, we have questions.
Yeah.
Even though we want to come back, we have thoughts and questions. So that's another thing
Yes.
that we are working through right now.
Right. And some of those questions are valid questions. People are concerned about, are we going to have masks? How are we going to do the 6 feet social distancing? So all those things on top of what we've got from the governor, we have to work through so that when you show up, whatever date that is, you'll be comfortable here at Westway.
Yeah. And that's, I don't want to say that's our primary goal, because the reason that we exist as Westway Christian Church is to proclaim Jesus as Lord. That's why we're here. And we want to do that safely.
We want to do it safely.
We want people to feel like they can participate in what we're doing. They can learn and grow in their discipleship, and then we turn them around and they go back.
Go out and do their thing.
Yeah, go out and make disciples. So that's really, those are our concerns. So like Jim said, we have the government guidelines. On one hand, we have feedback that you, our church body, are giving us, and we are working on combining all of this and seeing how this works for us. And part of that, and a big part, and this is a real responsibility that we're all going to face over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Having reasonable and realistic expectations about what our gathering is going to look like.
Yeah. How do we go on to that?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be different, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, to meet all the guidelines and to meet the questions, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And now we have to decide, how do we make that work while still reaching out to other people?
Yeah, and we talked about this last night with a lot of our ministry team leaders. It's awesome that our church body has gone out and been the church, and that's because we have really worked hard to make clear who we are as a church body. We have a very specific culture as Westway Christian Church, and some of the things that we're looking at having to do are going to press against that culture. Mm-hmm. So we have to work through those, and we have to have reasonable expectations of what it's going to look like together. And there are going to be, as Jim said, there are going to be things that are going to be different. We're going to have to think how we use our space. We're going to have to think about how we talk to other people, mm-hmm. all of these kinds of things. Because there are a lot of, there are people on both ends of the spectrum. There are people who think this is the Black Death, and everyone is going to die. And there are other people who think this is
a cold
or a government hoax.
Yeah.
So maybe there's three things.
Yeah.
Or people think there's a government hoax, and we're going to be, and like one of the things that I love about our church body is we're going to be bringing people from both of those sides of that spectrum into one room. And the people who think that this is the Black Death and the people who think that this is a government hoax, like, we're going to figure out a way to love Jesus together.
Right.
We're going to be respectful, and we're going to honor the way other people think and feel during this time. Because this is how we love our neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, like, if we were to think about all of these different guidelines that we're going to have to follow through, it comes down to loving our neighbor.
Loving each other. Putting
other people above ourselves. So regardless of what I think about social distancing or anything like that, I'm gonna follow these guidelines because I'm more concerned about other people and their relationship with Christ than I am with my own thoughts about this.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk way more about this. So if maybe you feel like that was I went a little heavy. We're going to talk way more about this because we want to make sure that people coming to Westway feel comfortable here, that they can hear the gospel. And we have a responsibility in that.
Right, we do.
As Christians. So the last thing, and Jim said it, we're going to have weekly updates for the next couple weeks. Tuesdays at 3, we're going to be doing this. Next week, we're going to be releasing the schedule that we have.
To the best of our knowledge.
Yeah, that could change.
Because the governor has warned us repeatedly that if they see a spike, they're going to go back and rein in things in.
Right. So everything we have is in an editable Google Doc, so we can change it.
Yes. Quickly.
We're not bound by that because again, we are, like, the building's not the church. We are. Mm-hmm. So we have been able to adapt very well over the last 8 weeks. You as our church body, the things that you've seen take place on a Sunday morning or on a Tuesday Q&A or something like that, you've seen a lot of changes. Even in this space that we're sitting in right now. A few weeks ago, Dustin showed us in our April business meeting. Dustin showed us a Tuesday Q&A from the beginning of this process and a Tuesday Q&A now, and it was dramatically different.
Right. It was a lot clearer. You could understand people.
Yeah.
And we've gone a long way of trying to produce something that the body can be proud of and you can actually listen to without, hopefully, lots of distractions.
Right. So we've adapted. Our church has adapted very well in this time, and that's another thing to celebrate. So next week, our desire is to release a schedule to you, so you have an idea of what's going to happen when, so you can be prepared for that. And then the week after that, we are going to release. Our plan is to release. So what are the guidelines that we're going to follow? So when I come here on a Sunday morning, what can I expect? Where am I going to stand? What door am I going to use? Kind of where am I going to sit? All of these other things. And we just want to do this in a staggered way, because one of the things that we've learned over the last 8 weeks is that everything has changed every single week.
Every single week.
So we want to do this slowly, and we're going to take our time because you guys are being the church, and I don't want to take that from you.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I don't want you to feel like you have to be here at the building and have that excuse me, and have that take us away from being the church.
Yeah.
So that's a real important thing. So the last thing I want to do, and it's on the screen right here below me, on Westway Christian Church's website, westwaychurch.com, there is a new heading at the top called Regathering. Every week by Wednesday, you will see an update on that page, and it'll probably be very similar to what you're hearing us do right now. So if you were to go and look at that page right now, you would see something very similar to what you're hearing Jim and I talk about. And a little bit later today, this video is going to be on that site. So every week, we're going to be posting those things. That page will be a primary source of updates for you. So we want to encourage you once a week on Wednesdays to look at that. It'll also be on your app, and in the weekly email, we'll be posting all of those kinds of things. So our desire today was to give you the 90,000 foot view. And maybe you wanted more information, and we're just going to ask for your patience because we're working through this just like every other church is in the world.
In the world. Well, in Nebraska anyway.
In Nebraska anyway, yeah. So we don't have anything else to tell you. We're appreciative of who's watching. So thanks for joining us today. Go to that website. You'll see a few more things. But thanks for watching. We want you to know that we love you. We're praying with you, and we're praying for you. And God's at work. And that's a good place that I can go when I'm wondering what in the world is going on.
God's still in control.
I can relax and find comfort in the fact that God is still in control.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys a week from today, if not before. And if you have any questions, ask them.
Yes.
So we'll see you next week.